Well, we now know officially what killed comedian, actor, and Philadelphia native Bob Saget.
Or do we? I mean, authorities say that Bob died last month from brain trauma. They think that somehow he hit his head and didn't tell anybody. Dr. Mike, what could this be?
Well, in my humble opinion, I think it might have been what's called a subdural hematoma. Now, a lot of viewers will say, finally, Dr. Mike brought his brain with him. So to illustrate what I think may have happened is that he, from published reports, hit the back of his head. Wasn't a big deal, didn't think much of it, and that may have caused some bleeding inside his cranium, inside the skull. And when that can happen, or when it does happen, it can compress the brain, leading to significant problems and even death. And so what I think happened was he had a little trauma, and there was some bleeding that started to occur very slowly, didn't think much of it, went to bed, and the bleeding continued. Now, the big question, Michael and Alex, is was he on a blood thinner? Because that's a big risk. Could it have been that he had uncontrolled high blood pressure? There's a lot of risk factors. Could he have had an underlying condition where he just easily bleeds? Those are the things that I would want to know.
Wow.
And you can find that out from his physician. I'm sure they've contacted his physician. Could you find out if he had high blood pressure or was on thinners from an autopsy?
Well, the doctors doing the autopsy, the pathologists, go through every single bit of data, everything from whether he was taking a baby aspirin. You know, there was this big study that came out looking at the risks and benefits of even taking a baby aspirin. Again, that's one of the things I do with my patients. I have a long discussion. Should you or should you not even take a baby aspirin? Was he on supplements? Sometimes supplements can lead to an increased risk of bleeding.
Wow.
So these are the things that pathologists would look at. They do the autopsy, and they apparently found that he had a bleed in his his brain.
But Dr. Mike,
Yeah.
people hit their heads. I mean, it happens. Maybe you're walking in, you know, getting in the car, or so. What kind of bump are we talking about? Obviously, this was minor enough where he felt like he could go to sleep and didn't need medical attention.
Yeah, he didn't call his wife or anything about it.
Right.
Right. There's two things to take away from this. One, even with minor trauma, minor head, if you bump your head, watch if you have any development of a headache, if you have any changes in your mental status. And a lot of experts say be with other people. Now, he was in a hotel room, so no one was there with him monitoring him. If he had been home, well, that's what I think.
But what are the signs? Because I wouldn't know. If someone says, oh, I hit my head, and we look at it, it looks fine from the outside, and they feel fine in that moment, I'm like, all right, well, let's keep going.
Well, if you hit your head, Alex, what we would do is if you all of a sudden then start to develop a headache that's not going away, you have some changes in your mental status, you're more tired, or even a seizure, things like that.
Because you would be asleep.
You wouldn't know
in Bob's case.
Right.
He fell asleep.
Yeah.
There you go.